You know, it seems like the world we live on, Earth, obviously, is a really big place. 25,000 miles around a circumference, like the equator now. So, I would call that a pretty substantial size, if that's all you're going to gauge the size of the Earth by, is by its actual physical size and mass and whatnot. But that's not the only thing that I would gauge size by. And so, I'd like to tell you about a few of the things that really make the Earth kind of a small place. First and foremost are that every person on the Earth is very connected with one another through the relationships we have with other people. Secondly, that the Earth itself connects us by the wind currents and the ocean currents that travel all over the globe that really unite us more than you would really think. And third, because we're really all made of the same things if you stop and think about it. So I'll tell you a little more about those because I realize that doesn't sound like it made much sense. But my first point, I said that it seems like really everyone's pretty well connected with each other. I imagine that you've all heard of something, kind of a popular idea, called the 6 degrees of separation. I'm not sure if you have those, so I'll just recant it for you. But basically what it is that everyone on the Earth knows somebody, who 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 knows anyone else on the entire globe. In other words, George Bush has a friend who is friends with Osama bin Laden. That's kind of ironic and really kind of strange too, because you know, you wouldn't think that we are so connected. Like me and some random Chinese guy who I will probably never meet in my entire life are only separated by 6 people. It's kind of interesting. And it goes beyond that too. Apparently, every single one of us is cousins at some point in the family tree. And that of course makes sense if you think about it, because you think, well, there was a first human, so we all have to be. But it's not anywhere near as far back as you'd think. It's only about 50 generations ago, or about 2,000 or 3,000 years. You know, it kind of depends a lot on how old the people are and stuff, but it wasn't that long ago that we all have a common ancestor. Might not be the same for me and Matt, or me and Dallas, but it might be the same for me and Mabel, and different for the rest of you. But we all have this common ancestor of ours that really, it's kind of interesting. You know, we're all related, much more than we would think. Now my second point, I said that the Earth is united, the people of the Earth are united by the globe itself, by the ocean and wind currents and everything. An interesting fact, I'm not sure if you know, but every year there are 300 more tons of topsoil in America. It's not that anyone ships them here, it's that the wind currents do. Apparently, 300 tons of sand are picked up in Africa, in the Sahara, every single year. And that much makes it all the way across the ocean to the United States. And also, a lot of sand in the American West, you know, it's dry and sandy out here, a lot of that sand is picked up by wind here and makes it all the way to places like Australia. And it's really pretty interesting because we're walking around on sand that fell off of some little African kid's shoulder 2 years ago. And it's like, wow, that's just bizarre. But you know, it just serves to unite us even more. And one third point that I wanted to make is that we're all made of the same things. We're all made of mostly water, you know, and that water has been existing for like 4 billion years now. It's just been recycled so many times, I don't even want to think about it over the Earth. You know, you've heard this story. It's been in and out of every organism ever. It's been in the ocean, down the Amazon River a few times, you know. It's been around. But water isn't the only thing that travels around like that. I'm sure you remember learning in biology about the nitrogen cycle. Apparently nitrogen is consumed by us, and then we give it off as waste in various forms. Then that grows, or is decomposed into the soil, and plants take it up. We eat the plants again, and the nitrogen keeps getting passed around like that. And it's funny because no matter how hard we try, we have to consume that nitrogen, and we have to give it back off again. And we're tied to the Earth, and therefore each other, permanently like that. It's pretty strange. And also the carbon cycle. You know, the more humans are advanced, it seems like the more we depend on energy from sources outside of ourselves, like driving cars or power plants, or anything we use that isn't powered by us has to be made some other way. And generally speaking, most of the energy we use is made by burning something containing carbon. You know, wood fires, coal fires, natural gas, oil, all of these things that are our main sources of energy are part of the carbon cycle. And that further unites us with the earth and each other, because we all depend on each other to get that around and to bring it back to where it belongs. So I realize this speech doesn't follow very well, but I guess I'm trying to get at here is it's a very small world after all.